On this week's episode of Three Cups and a Dash of Spirituality, we are going to be talking about dreaming, interpreting them, exploring them. Let's get this episode started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Three Cups and a Dash of Spirituality. I am Michelle, and I am here today with Stacy.
Hello, everybody.
And Carissa.
Hello, hello.
And what the rest of my team might not be remembering right now is that this is pretty much our 2-year anniversary. We've been on the air.
Are you
2
serious?
years this episode, yes.
No way.
No way.
I know, time flies when you're having fun.
No
We do have-
freaking way.
Yay. I'm proud of us.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
It is, and we've gone from 2 episodes a month to 4 episodes a month, and we're finding our groove. So this is so much fun. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us and coming back and listening and telling your friends about us.
Normalizing the paranormal.
Normalizing the paranormal. I like it.
I do too.
Well, ladies, why don't I start with the listener story? We answer that, and then you guess what we're going to be talking about today,
All right.
like you're psychic or something.
And we don't plan episodes ahead of time either.
Okay, well, I do have a listener story, and it's from a while back. It actually got buried in with my notes, but here you go. My uncle passed away when I was in elementary school. He had been suffering from cancer for a long time, so we knew he would pass, and it was expected, and everyone in the family got to say goodbye. One night, shortly after he passed, I had a very vivid dream. The best way I could describe it was I was surrounded by a brilliant light. I was in a train car with my uncle and we were talking, but I wasn't myself. I was my mother. In the dream, my uncle was hugging me, saying goodbye, and telling me, my mom, that it was time for her to get off the train. And I was crying, telling him I wasn't ready for him to leave, but he was reassuring me that he was okay. He was okay, but it was time for me to get off. I told my mom the next day about the dream, and I think it was a message for her from her brother. I have never had another dream of a past loved one so vivid since. Do you think it was really him or just a child's vivid dream?
Oh, without question. Carissa, you're even like, yes.
Duh.
What a beautiful experience to have.
But
Is it?
definitely a visitation offering comfort with a message. And that's I do think that the reader or the whomever wrote this into us was spot on in that it was a message directly from mom too.
Oh, yeah. The way when she said, and I was the mom, I was like, that sounds like the message is for mom.
Yeah.
So
But
mom
she was
was
open or in that state where she could receive it, whereas the mom maybe was walking through her own grief or guilt or any other of those emotions that come when you lose someone. But her daughter was that open channel, that open form of communication.
Yeah, I had a reading once with a young girl, early 20s. And she had like 3 or 4 people come in to talk with her in the connection sessions. And then I was like, oh, wait, we got this other guy coming in. He wants to talk to you. And when I had her turn around, it was her cousin, her mom's nephew. And that's when she started crying. And then I said, I walked her through it. And then we came out and I was like, what was going on? Tell me more. Why was that one more emotional if you weren't very close? She said, my mom said, this will be real only if you see your cousin.
Interesting. So that is twofold in my brain. My brain goes, you're setting expectations again and not being open to the experience. But then the other side, I'm just glad they showed up because if
Right?
it wouldn't have been real.
Right?
So like that's such a mixed bag.
So it makes me wonder, this is a theory, right? Because we don't have enough information or we don't know these people. If mom was not open to that or closed or she had her own types of beliefs, that is why he was able to come through. Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, such a cool experience. I mean, I know my spiritual journey, which I've shared, did start with a visitation from a loved one. And I will share that just the other day, I was laying in bed and I saw this white mist form at the end of my bed. I felt myself physically get up out of bed and walk towards it. I was able to look inside of it, and it was my grandmother, and I reached out and hugged the light, and then she was gone, and I was back in bed. So I don't know if it was my astral body that got up, went over there, hugged her, but it was so real. I could feel her, I could see her. I couldn't, like, when the first time I saw her, I could actually, like, hug her, like, I could feel her, but it was like an energetic feel this time, it was different. But, uh, yeah, I believe that was a visitation. I mean, I saw her face form in there, hugged it, and then she was gone, and it was just, like, beautiful.
It's always an interesting thing when we have those visitations. I have actually sitting right in front of me, my grandmother passed in 2022. I have her memorial card from the funeral,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's always here. And I actually just lost another family member late last week. And for some reason, over the past few days, I feel way more connected to my grandmother than I did even when she passed. Like I sit down and it's almost like I can feel her, and obviously, I lost her in 2022, and the family member that I lost last week, it they are related. It's just all of a sudden, it's like my grandma's here, and I can almost feel her hug, and, like, it's okay, and it's really interesting how our family members will come back when they feel like, "Oh, we need to be here for this. We can offer support for this."
And the veil is thinner when someone passes.
Yeah, that is true.
It's like you're grieving and that part of you is way less distracted, unblocked, open. Um,
Raw. I mean, you're raw, you're
raw.
not sitting
Yeah,
with your own ego in that moment, you're
yeah,
missing, you're remembering,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
It's interesting though, kind of shifting gears just a little bit because I know obviously visitations in dreams is kind of what prompted this, but I think that the dreaming part is really equally as important too, because dreams all have different meanings, right? And I know one of the reasons that we had talked about talking about dreams is because I don't know if you guys or you ladies have experienced this recently, but my dreams have been off the chart insane over the past like week or two.
Mine are
Um,
I have the craziest dreams every night. Every freaking night.
I am wondering if you guys have had a kind of dream that jumps around. Like you start
Mhm.
one scene and all of a sudden it like shifts, the entire scene shifts and then it shifts again. And it's like it's not progressive, but it's almost
Mhm.
jarring to the point where by the time you wake up, you're not just confused, but your heart is pounding because you don't know where you're gonna wake up next or where you're gonna appear next. But I had one probably 2 or 3 nights ago, and I had to stay awake for a few hours after I woke up because it was so my heart was pounding so hard.
Do you wanna talk about it?
I can't honestly, I can't remember the first scene, but the second scene is that I was in a theater, and I was getting in line, and there were, like, this huge group of us that just walked into the theater and sat down, and we all needed concessions. So, we got up, myself and, like, one other person got up and got in line at the concession stand, and all of a sudden, it was time to pay, and I was like, "I'll pay. I can do this," and ended up there was, like, this weird verbal altercation between me and another person, and I was like, "Listen, my mom's got this. My mom's got it. Let me pay." And then all of a sudden, I'm at the entry of a high school or some school trying to find my husband. And then I can't find him. He's not there. I don't know where he went. And then it shifts again where I'm outside in this like cement, like outdoor pagoda in
What's
like
the pagoda?
it's like a covered area that has a cement ground, and my husband is there with me, and we're being surrounded by people who were starting fights. And he said, "Stacy, you have to call 911. We shouldn't be here. This is a dangerous area. We've gotta get out." And then I woke up.
I know where I instantly went listening to your experience, and that was to, like, a past life, perhaps? Do you think you could have been picking up on something from a past life or a past life review in which they're just showing you scenes of how you get there? I mean, I have had a past life regression, and that's where it starts. Drop into a scene, drop in, and it is jarring and it does change quickly, but I've always been walked into that.
Yeah. I mean, that's entirely possible.
So, the whole feel is like you and your husband are learning how to cement yourself in this relationship. Like, how it's, I hate to say me and you against the world, but how do you and I cement ourselves in this relationships and set boundaries with all this stuff going around all of us stuff, you know?
Mhm.
And you typically, I don't know too much. I met him, but I don't know too much about him. But you're the, I'll pay the verbal altercations. You're the one who's just going to go out there and fight and do this kind of stuff. How can you back up and there be more of a balance? It's like the vision I see is you're standing here and he's standing here and your backs up against each other and you are encircled with this protective circle. And how do y'all hold each other up against all this other family dynamics, friend dynamics, all that stuff, cement into that relationship.
That I mean, that definitely makes sense too. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, with everything that we've kind of walked through in the past year, absolutely.
And what does concessions mean for you? I know food and, but what is there anything else?
Could mean compromise. Like the word concession alone is a
Mhm.
compromise.
Interesting. Because I was also in line getting everyone their concessions. So there were like 2 or 3 of us in line together, kind of serving everything to everybody that just kind of walked into this theater. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because then right when you're doing that and you're doing the altercation, like, I'll pay, I'm taking care of all this.
Yeah.
But then all of you and him are in high school, right? You're learning the blocks and then it becomes that cement pagoda. It's like, how do I cement into these early stage of our marriage so
Yeah.
we can stand back to back and
And
protect ourselves?
essentially fight everybody.
Well, family dynamics is gonna pour into your relationship, sorry. I
Oh,
don't care how,
absolutely.
quote, unquote, "perfect" your relationship is. I don't care
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
perfect your friendships are.
Yeah.
That's a great dream, though, too, because of the cement and you and him surrounded by people who fight.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I mean, it's like that's kind of why I brought it is because, dreams have such a significant impact in both the psychic realm as well as the psychological realm because they are often reflections of what we're walking through in life, right?
I truly believe those who are in a deep relationship with someone, a relationship, period, have past lives.
Mhm.
I really do.
Have you guys ever had like a dream with that included the same things in it as a partner of yours? Like a
Like an
person?
ex?
No, no, like you're sleeping next to your husband and you both have someone or something appear in your dreams the same night.
Mm.
Not that I've ever discovered personally. Wait a minute, I'm gonna walk that back, and it might not have been a dream, it might have been a meditation. They're kind of the same, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I was in a meditation, and I did feel my friend approach, and when I talked to her later, something similar had happened, so that did happen.
My husband doesn't hardly ever dreams, he's such a hard sleeper. But you can also tap into like, for what I can't remember the dream, Stacy, but I remember I called you and I was like, "I had this crazy dream. Can I tell you about this? Because you were in it." And when I told you, you're like, "Well, this is what's going on."
Mhm.
It's like I had tapped into it because you were maybe needing to talk or I don't even remember, it was so long ago, but we had
It's
energetically connecting with them.
Yeah, it's happened twice now with myself and my husband where we'll wake up and we'll both have a dream with like we both had a dream about a friend of ours the same night. Same person. He doesn't remember his dream, but he knew that that person was in it. And then on another occasion, we had almost a mirror like we had the same dream. And, like, I remember bits and pieces of that, and I remember waking up, and I was like, "I had a dream that we walked in the house and blah, blah, blah," and he was like, "No way." He's like, D did you really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "That is the exact same dream that I had." And
Oh my gosh, Stacy, you know what I just remembered? You know, it's so and this really ties into you telling me this dream. Do you remember a while back when I said I was looking at your chart and I was like, "Stacy, you're gonna have Saturn in your 7th house and blah, 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 blah time. So that's gonna deal with relationships."
I vaguely remember that.
Okay, so Stacy, your Saturn transit has just entered your 7th house. And this is oh my god, this is fascinating. Now we're throwing in some because this is really fascinating. When Saturn goes into your 7th house, it's really hard because you have to start looking at yourself to redefine your relationship. Your relationships won't make it or they get stronger. What would we just say about this dream?
The cementing the relationship, cementing together, that's interesting.
That is fascinating.
Girl, it's gonna be in there for like 2 years, so
Yeah, I think he and I are gonna just get
oh, no, 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 not I'm just saying, this is like it's almost like the dream is saying, "It here we go, cement yourself, you and him against" not like you and him against the world, but you know what I mean.
kind of exciting. What do you
What
think, Michelle?
No, I find dreaming so fascinating. I spend hours listening to meditations, trying to learn how to lucid dream where I'm awake in my dream. Have you ever had that experience? I know we talked a little bit about it, where you absolutely know that you're dreaming, but you're awake and you can make all sorts of things happen.
I usually end up waking myself up because I get too in my head.
I need an example. You're in your dream, but you wake up and
You're
you
awake
know
and
you're
you
in
know
your
that
dream.
you're in your dream
I have, it's
and you're
very
awake.
way under 5, way ever under the number of 5, but I have. Yes, I have.
It actually happened to me the other day, and I think I reached out to you about it where I said, I don't know if I was dreaming, if I was hallucinating because I was sick, if I'm in the process of being rewired, but I was there. I knew I was dreaming. I knew like all this weird stuff and rearranging was happening. But I mean, that's not the best explanation, but it's just being in your dream, waking up, knowing you're there, and then making things happen. Like you can say to yourself, I'm going to open this door and there's going to be a candy shop behind the door. I mean, like you're creating the scene as you go through it a
You can
lot of times.
fly if you want
You
to.
can
You know,
fly. Yeah. There's
and
no
yeah,
limitations.
you're taking the helm.
I remember when I was young, I don't remember how old, but young, I was having a bad dream of giants. Like, and giants are scary for a little I mean, the dream was scary, like giants. Can you imagine have a giant lording over you? Anyway, and I remember reading a children's book 'cause I was a kid, and about how you're supposed to turn towards your monster in your dreams. So that's all I focused on for so many days and right before I went to sleep that I eventually was able to do that. And then I only was able to do it 1 or 2 other times. But talking about dreams, you're gonna have a lot of dreams when you've got especially in your 12th and 8th and 4th house. If you go to astro.com, put on your information and look, like those are your big psychic houses. Psychic really 12th and 8th, but a little bit in 4th. But really, especially if you have moon in 12th and sun in 8th, it's gonna be even bigger, 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 those dreams. So if you have it, step into that more and see what you get and see what psychic information and see what like the uncle that came through for her to talk to her mom. Start seeing if you can open yourself up to some of those visitations.
Well, and I'm also going to really throw out there to, loosely interpret your dreams, but bear in mind that you know your life. And so like I know there will be certain symbols that really stand out to me in my dreams, and I'll look those up. Like I'll look random symbols up that really pop. And there are usually 3 or 4 or 5 interpretations of those symbols, and I go with the one that feels the most right for me in my life.
And, a lot of times they're metaphors too. What is this meta like I was asking you, what does concessions mean to you? And then Michelle was able to put in her input. Sometimes it takes more than one head. I would never have thought of that.
What about a reoccurring dream, like the same theme, but the scenario is different? Every time the scenario is a little different, the players are always the same, but it's different. Have you ever had one of those before?
Oh, and not with the same people, but scenario. I mean, I have one with my husband and daughter all the time, but that's because 'cause they're always in the house. No. Have you?
Yeah, no, I've had a reoccurring dream. It doesn't happen all the time, probably 3 or 4 times a year, but it's always the same theme. I can predict what's gonna happen and how I'm gonna feel by the end of it, but the s the scene is different. It could be somewhere hot while I'm on vacation, or it could be in the middle of the night somewhere on a train. I mean, it just really depends.
Yeah, no, I've never had reoccurring dreams. Well, I say that, and now I'm probably gonna get off the air and be like, "Oh, no, I've
Yeah,
had."
you
No, they're hard to remember. Like, do you guys have tips for remembering your dreams? Do you have a dream journal nearby or an exercise you do?
I just have a notebook next to my bed, and I do not turn a light on. I do not write it all out. I write key things that really stand out to me in the dream that really, like, you know, I don't know, and you guys can speak, you guys might be able to speak, because I don't know, but there are certain things that come up in dreams that are more, like,
important.
strong, like, they kind of bring you back to the dream that
Yeah, I
it
understand that.
stand out. So, like, I write down, like, I look back at my notebook sometimes, and it'll be like, "Orange, cat fire," and, like, it just because of the language and words that I use when I'm half asleep, it brings me right back to the dream, and I can remember it even years later because the things that I chose, that I wrote, were so powerful in whatever the dream was.
I just remember images, but this is taking me a long time to practice. So it's trial and error, play with it. It's taking me a long time to get to where I remember those dreams. And now I follow my intuition of what Stacey was saying, which ones am I energetically pulled to most? And one thing was coming to me while you were talking is that dreams are, of course they're psychic where you get to get in touch with loved ones who have passed. Not only are they are the road to the unconscious, but they're also the road to our higher self and spirit guides. Because what if Stacy's higher self, her spirit guide said, you know what? She needs to really see this. She's going to go on air and talk about this, which then integrates the information more. Like what if this was also psychically picking up all this stuff? Or what if she is psychically picking up stuff that is going to happen, not yet, but is going to happen, and it's saying, "Cement yourself with him. Get ready, because you got a lot of chaos that's about to encircle the two of you. Get ready."
I know I have had several dreams that have been connected either to my higher self or my spirit guides, and I feel myself down there, like, I say down there, like, pulled within my soul, within myself, and I'm getting these lessons, and I'm sitting there, and I just have these conversations. I'm like, "Oh my god, that makes so much sense. Yes, yes, I'm getting it finally. I'm getting it. I'm getting it." And the closer and closer I get to consciousness, the more and more it fades, and by the time I open my eyes, it is completely gone, and it's so frustrating because 5 seconds earlier, I understood it completely, and it was like these dots were being connected, and it's so empowering, but then so frustrating, and I do think I reached out to Stacy after one of these dreams before and said, "I don't get it because they're working with me. I know these messages are here, I'm understanding it, and then they take it away from me." And she said, "Maybe they're speaking in a language you can't understand when you're awake." And
Are
maybe they are.
are you taking Ambien too or not anymore?
I like to dream so much that Ambien robs me of that, so I really try to take nothing other than melatonin. Occasionally, if I can't sleep, I will take one, but I like to dream. I like that chance for connection to my higher selves, my guides, my loved ones. I don't wanna take that away from myself.
So Ambien prevents you from dreaming?
Ambien, for me, it prevents me from dreaming, and it also causes me to eat in my sleep,
Oh, yeah, that's
like
right.
bags of Doritos in a night, one setting.
I mean, Doritos are delicious, at least
Well, they kinda are.
good food.
I do not even have Doritos in the house, let me tell you.
No, It's really interesting because I find that we kind of integrate more in our sleeps, and that's when I do remember having that conversation with you, and ironically, Carissa, like, the dream that I shared, it's actually from a few weeks ago, and things were chaotic. And, I did find that my husband and I really did need to lean into each other and kind of
Oh.
have each other's backs. So I don't know if it was a couple weeks. Everything is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like mooshing together. So it was probably last week, but with everything that happened last week and
Mhm.
just in life, like, it's been
Yep.
chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think dreaming is really a gift from God, a gift from the universe, because not only does it allow us to connect our three bodies, mind, body, spirit, but also that collective consciousness also, because as Stacy said earlier, there are several times when you might be tapping into something that your friend is going through. And then that next morning you call and you reach out just because you had this dream. And that's exactly what they needed in the time. So it is very connective, and we're so lucky we have it. I just wish I could remember better.
Yeah, I was looking up the psychological aspects of dreams, and I love how Jung said dreams are a bridge to the self. Isn't
Mm,
that cool?
it
Well,
is.
that's why I figured this would be an awesome topic because there is so much in psychology about dreaming. There have been so many studies on sleep too, and the importance of REM and deep sleep and the difference between the different sleep cycles.
Or neurobiologically speaking, you could be picking this is why a healthy being curious is so important, right? Healthy level of cynicism. A dream about falling may be triggered by changes in bodily sensations during sleep and doesn't necessarily hold symbolic meaning. Isn't that interesting? And then transpersonal, I love transpersonal psychology. That's where you have the visitations, guidance from spirit, and experiences in other realms. It's
Well, if
not
you've
just
ever,
go ahead.
I was going to say, what you just reminded me of is if you've ever jerked awake when you're just falling asleep,
Yes.
your body is your body is transitioning
Mhm,
into a sleep stage, and
mhm.
all of a sudden it just kind of it's like a quick malfunction when
Yeah,
you jerk awake. Suddenly, it's not. It's
yep.
part of the
You
sleep
fall
cycle.
asleep too quick.
Yeah.
And I've also heard it can be your body returning from an astral experience too. I'm actually currently reading a book or listening to it on audio. It's by Samantha Fay and it's called The Awake Dreamer. And in this book, she does talk about all the different stages of sleep, where you are like as you fall in and where you are when you're coming out of it,
Mhm.
and about all these, about dreaming and connection. And I totally forgot I was reading this book until we started talking about this. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. It's right here on my phone.
Isn't that awesome? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And if y'all want to read it or listen to it and come back and discuss it, we can go deeper on this topic because it is fascinating.
And you said Samantha Fay?
Samantha Fay, Fey.
Interesting. A guide to lucid dreaming, astral travel, and mastering the dreamscape.
Mm. I guess the other thing that I was gonna ask you guys is, do you have any, advice whenever you consistently have, rough dreams or nightmares or dreams that wake you up in panics?
Yeah, I gotta sit and think about or ask my guys, what is this about?
Okay.
What about you, Michelle?
I kind of do the same thing. I don't easily fall back asleep after having one of those dreams. So I tend to obsess on it until I fall back asleep. But I guess as I'm obsessing, I'm working through it and finding those answers or those connections or talking myself or my heart rate down.
Ironically, I asked this question because, as I said earlier, it would come to me afterwards. I have had a repeat dream
Oh.
that's been an absolute it's been a nightmare every single time I have it, and I'm not gonna dive into it on the podcast, but it has been repeat, and so I was curious if what you guys did for those kinds of things, and I it makes sense, so
Mhm.
Yeah, when I have my reoccurring one, it's like, uh, again, I always recognize it and I do have to talk myself through it, maybe look at what's going on in my life. But yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun waking up with a racing heartbeat, making sure everybody is in bed next to you. Well, one person. My husband is in bed next to me. He's okay. I'm okay. we're here in this space right now together. So
Anything else?
I don't think so. Just another fun topic of conversation. And I really do think we can dive even deeper. So I look forward to future conversations about this. If our listeners have stories or questions about dreaming, send them our way. Like, we'll talk about them.
Yeah. With that, unless Carissa has anything,
I'm
I'll,
good.
I will stay classy.
Stay sassy.
And stay badassy. Dream well, everyone. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of 3 Cups and a Dash of Spirituality. If you like what you heard, please know that we have a full library of episodes now available on your favorite podcasting platform. You can listen to it now, or you can download it to listen to later. Also, if you'd like to give us a review, we'd appreciate it. We love connecting with listeners, and thank you in advance.